Peace to everybody that's here. I want to say thank you all for tuning in. I want to ask before I say anything else that you all hit the like and share button. Everybody watching this, whether you're watching it live, watching a recording, click like and share. Help to spread this information. We're talking about the truth, actually, the higher up truth, the divine truth, if you would ask me. Let me show you this thumbnail. So, yeah, we're talking about the true self or our divine nature, revealing our true self. I'm going to share some highlights and insight from the book that I wrote, Unlocking the Keys. And speaking about, well, let me share this verse from the Moorish Holy Koran, or the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, from chapter 3. The only devil from which men must be redeemed is self, the lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. This is one of the most profound spiritual teachings in the Moorish Holy Quran. It completely changes how we understand good, evil, struggle, redemption. It removes the blaming system, being a victim, always blaming others instead of blaming others. Prophet Noble Drew Ali directs us inward. Why? Because the key understanding is that the real battlefield lies within man. So it's a very empowering message, a message that helps you to realize your true nature and your true potential. There's no limitation. You're not limited by class, racism, any of these other constructs. Right? These are all man-made constructs, and we're able to overcome all of these things, no matter how out of control they may seem. We're able to overcome all of that stuff. And where this conversation is stemming from is actually from a Facebook interaction. I want to speak on this in brief. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I do want to show what sparked this, or what the innovation, where this came from, why I'm speaking on this. So we did have a video earlier today from the Sheik Conversations podcast that's here on Morris in America. We had just had a video with Sheik Clement L. It's Sheik Clement L and myself, Brother Lloyd Douglas L. We were speaking about the prophecies of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and on a Facebook post for this video, there was some comments on there. Brother, show this one in particular from the brother. Says Muslim Bay shared a long post and was speaking about Yakub. Okay. If you see this, you got Yakub, which is from the Nation of Islam, which from our perspective really doesn't have anything to do with us. More Science Temple of America predates the Nation of Islam. No disrespect to the Nation of Islam or their teachings or anything of that nature, just that it's not our teachings. So I want to share this because he shared this image. Maybe AI made it, putting some of the teachings from the NOI in there, and this is what came out there. The black scientist Yakub, the big-headed scientist, and he's creating the white man. And then you can see from his description over here, he's talking about how there's no Negro or black, and speaking about the creation of white people. The word Negro means a black man. The term Negro means necessarily person of color, but not every person of color is Negro. Negro Jarava Arabo is the troglodyte Nider, a black chimpanzee monkey, and he's showing this, and just wanted to show or speak about the response that I had in particular was gratitude for sharing, but just want to put the statement out there in the public so that there's no confusion. And the reason I'm doing this is because the teaching, this Yakub theory, the teaching comes from Master Fard Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. That is not the teaching of Prophet Noble Drew Ali or the Moorish Science Temple of America. To go even further, the Moorish Science Temple of America does predate the Nation of Islam. Prophet Noble Drew Ali never taught that a race of people is the devil. I'm going to come back to that. So this teaching, that's Master Fard Muhammad, that's Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. It has nothing to do with Moorish Americans, Prophet Abdul Ali of the Moorish Temple of America. Moorish American Muslims do not mix NOI teachings, Nation of Islam, in with our divine instructions from Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We do not do that. Prophet Noble Drew Ali actually predates Fard and the Nation of Islam. Master Fard taught that the white man is the devil. We do not teach that. We know that there is no white or black, first off. There's no white or black man. We also know the truth of our full nature, our true nature, our divine nature. The only devil from which man must be redeemed is self, the lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. That's in the Moorish Holy Koran, or the Quran of the Moorish Scientific American, proper name, chapter 3. Just to share that context. Those aren't our teachings. We don't mix that. If you hear Moors mixing that stuff online, it's because they don't know. They don't know anything. They don't know the structure. They don't know the order. They don't follow our divine prophet. Our prophet's teachings are whole and divine. So it's not missing anything. It's not like we need to pick up these other pieces and stuff. The prophet left that out. No, the prophet Noble Drew Ali prepared us to realize our true nature and fulfill our divine potential. We do not need the latter lessons, the later lessons from Fard on the white man, because those lessons are limited to dealing with racism. And it's no disrespect to the Nation of Islam at all. But we are beyond that. And so I'm not saying that to sound smug or, once again, to be disrespectful in any way to the Nation of Islam, because I have nothing but respect for the Nation of Islam. Um, but it's just not our teachings. Why would we, like the Prophet never, Noble Drew Ali never taught that a race of people is the devil. Our Prophet gave us a much deeper spiritual understanding and a much truer, a divine understanding. The truth never changes or passes away. That truth, you could say, I put truth in quotations, that Master Fard shared within the Nation of Islam was limited to a point of time when people were dealing with Jim Crow, where literally, so called white people are lynching their people. And yes, I could understand why they would feel like that, but Prophet Noble Drew Ali is giving us a deeper, fuller spiritual understanding, much deeper. And he taught that the problem is not a race of people. The problem is the lower self, and the lower self is within every human being. To give more understanding to this, to give more insight to this, the lower self represents certain aspects that's in every human. The lower self represents ignorance. It represents ego. It represents uncontrolled or unchecked desire. And it also represents hatred, jealousy, greed, fear. And this in all human beings, regardless of nationality, regardless of ethnicity, just common sense. We know all humans have these things, right? So much a higher up lesson that's universal actually for all humans. And so there's no reason for any Moorish American Muslims to be out here, with that like limited, outdated outlook point of view. Not man, that's just have to tell the truth. I'm trying to. I don't want to keep saying no offense, but just saying like we have to keep it real. Have to be able to tell the truth. To be honest, like that is a very limited point of view. We don't need it. It's not for us, and we understand that everyone is capable of being their higher or lower self. And I'm glad you asked that question, KP. Um, we're going to talk about that today. That's actually what this whole program is about. So this isn't about, Yakub and all that stuff. Nah, we're talking about higher and lower self, man. We raising up the vibrations of this conversation, and we want it to actually be useful. Like we could sit it up and debate about Yakub and all this stuff, and it'll be entertaining maybe for like a handful of people, but it's not going to actually help you to improve your life. So when you ask this question, how do you do a better job of controlling your lower self? That's what this conversation is actually going to be about. A productive conversation. And we go to the Quran, Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, by the guiding of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. So that's what this is really about. Returning us to our highest potential. Not talking about the big headed scientists and all this stuff, man. That stuff, like, come on. We actually want to, you know, make improvements in our lives and better, better versions of ourselves. So that's what this is about. And that's, yeah, I'm glad that's why you're listening. That's also why I recommend getting this book. If you don't have the Holy Quran or the Moorish Science Temple of America, you can always get your copy from us, from our temple. We are official. We don't. We have the real Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We didn't change anything in it. We didn't remove anything. We have everything in there that the Prophet originally intended for you to use it to know thyself, to be your higher self. You can always get that from us at MoorishAmericans.com. Go to MoorishAmericans.com and just click on Temple Store and order your copy. And you know what? Matter of fact, while I'm doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up on the screen while I say that so that you can see and know that it's real. Like, so you can always just go to MoorishAmericans.com, no matter where you're at in the world. You can go there and you can order your Holy Quran. You don't have to join. You don't have to be a member. Even though it's a beautiful temple, beautiful people here with us. You don't have to join. So the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America also has the Quran questionnaire inside of it, and that is available to the public at large, the public in general. So it's a Moorish literature book, and this has many publications from the Prophet Noble Ali as well as historical documents from the Prophet. Definitely something you want to get. And it's only $9 plus shipping and handling. So you go to MoorishAmericans.com, you click on Temple Store, you can order that, and also the Holy Quran with the Quran questionnaire in there at the back of the book. You get that, you're good to go. Another recommendation that I would make for everyone is to definitely get a copy of my book, which I'm going to talk about today and show you how it helps you. Yeah, get that from MoorishAmericans.com. You can see the price on there. I just had it up on here. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America is only $10, and the Moorish literature is only $9, then plus shipping. But yeah, you can get that, and we'll ship it out. We ship those out actually worldwide. So regardless of where you're at, we can get it out to you. Um, also suggest people to get my book, which of course is my book, but I'm suggesting it because it's a great tool. It's a self help book, actually, from a Moorish American Muslim perspective, from a Moorish adept perspective, a sheep perspective, to help you to realize your higher self, your true nature. And it's not coming from someone who can't do this work on themselves. It's coming from someone who's actually doing the work on themselves and showing you how to use these lessons in your life because we don't want to just be here talking. We want to actually be improving ourselves and being our higher self. And that's unlocking the keys. The link to this book is in the description. It has 420 pages, Morse. Not 420 pages of just garbage. And when you get it from that link, I will autograph that book and send it out to you, and I'll ship that out worldwide too. Get that book. Link is in the description.
Unlock the Keys, a powerful guide to Moorish identity, divine law, and self-mastery. Praised by sheiks and scholars alike, and Moors across the nation are calling it a must-read. Grab your signed copy now at MorrisonAmerica.com for just $23. Or get the paperback on Amazon, also $23. Prefer digital? The Kindle version is only $3.99.
All right. So glad you are here. And once again, we are talking about the higher self and the lower self and how to be your higher self. And actually answering the question was posed in the chat about doing a better job at controlling your own lower self. We're not debating about Yakub or any of that stuff, man. We don't believe that the devil is a race. It's not a certain race or ethnic group. The devil is a condition of consciousness. And this is something that exists in all human beings. And when we are trapped into the carnal way of thinking, when we are being ruled by ignorance, ego, uncontrolled desire, hatred, jealousy, greed, fear, that's when the devil comes out. Right? Right. So yeah, just wanted to reiterate that this is what we're doing: the higher self versus the lower self. For the most part, right? We're getting into the deeper teachings. That's what this is all about. And in order to do that, like with yeah, I can't go through all the prophets' lessons in this short video. This video will be short, but to get to the main part, or to give it to you in a nutshell, every human being has two forces operating within them. Every last one of us. We all have it. So we can't sit up here and act like we're better than anyone, or someone else is superior to us. No, right? Everyone has a lower self. The lower self is the animal nature. It's the carnal mind, and it has characteristics. We're actually taught and shown these characteristics within our own within our literature from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, which I'm going to show you. And that's actually what this book in particular, which I'm going to bring up on the screen, this wonderful, wonderful book, which I recommend you all get a copy of. This book is called Unlocking the Keys. You can use that link in the description to get your copy, and we will send out a physical copy of this book. Right. This book has 420 pages. I'll send you out an autograph copy. But I'm going to give you some examples of this now. The characteristics of the lower self. This is good because it gives you better understanding of the keys and how to utilize the keys. And when I say keys, I'm speaking about the Holy Quran. I mean the Quran questionnaire, the 101 keys of the Quran questionnaire. Right. So I'm just gonna go through. I'm gonna look into a few chapters in here to share some insight with you. So we're actually gonna go behind the scenes into the book for you to check it out. Once again, this book is Unlocking the Keys. That artwork is from my daughter, wonderful daughter. She made that painting, right? The Prophet of the Fallen Humanity on that cover. But yeah, when we go into this book, see some of the great people have checked it out and have recommended it. But going into the lower self, right? The prophet actually gives us the characteristics of the lower self. And I want to speak on this teaching. So I'm going to share some deep insight from the book with you right here and right now. So you're very special, to be listening in right now. When we go into key or question 64 from the 101 keys, it says you have five names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. And those names are revealed as Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. Now, this is giving you the characteristics of the lower self. Those names aren't just names and just names. No, 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 stop. Wait. Each of those names carry characteristics from a metaphysical point of view, a spiritual point of view, right? Because the characteristics of the lower self are anger, revenge, selfishness, materials obsession, wanting to dominate, division, the ego. Okay, all of these lower things which lead to turmoil, and also can lead to a chaotic life. Like when you're trapped in the lower self, you may make a decision that you regret. People make decisions and they do things that only take 5 minutes that they wind up giving up 50 years, 40 years, 30 years of their life for, if it doesn't cost them their own life. All right. So when we're given those five names given to the descendants of Adam and Eve as Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast, let's look at what they actually mean. Lucifer represents false light, represents ego, pride. That pride is what blinds one to divine truth. Satan. Satan is the adversary. That's the resistance to divine will. That's that struggle that's within us all, right? It's the adversary. The devil is the lower nature of humanity. It's tied to selfish desires, right? And so, what do we know these for? What is these five names being given to us for? So that when these characteristics come up in our own life, in our own mind, without even acting on it, we can recognize it. then you can speak to it the same way in the scriptures that Jesus spoke to the devil, Satan. You know, when he's being tempted, Jesus can call him out, and you're being risen up to a higher degree so that you can now speak with authority. Speak as the higher self. Lucifer, what do you really want? What are you doing here? Dragon, chaotic and untamed energy. It's representing ignorance, base instincts. Beast, purely carnal and animalistic aspect of human nature. So that these names just symbolize these different manifestations of the lower self. This is how it manifests itself in the human nature, in the human being, right? So each one of these names, they reflect these aspects, the struggle that we're going through. Because the struggle is to rise above base desires, right? The ego driven decisions. And so this is, the less this is what this book is really about, revealing this to us, understanding with deeper insight with that key. That's just key 64. We just did key 64. But that's just giving you a deeper insight so that now you know how to apply this in your life. So when that's coming up, when these thoughts that represent, Satan, devil, dragon, beast, right? When they're coming up, you know how to interact with it. You know how to call it out. In our daily life, the ego, Lucifer, right? We want to avoid pride in decision making because you're obviously going to make a decision that's going to, affect you in a negative way. It's going to be, it's going to cause chaos in your life, right? So we want to recognize this. The desires, the devil. Want to be able to recognize that so we can practice discipline, self discipline in our thoughts and actions. Because before you act on it, it's a thought. So we want to get this at the thought. We want to cut it off at the thought. And so this is the act that we're actually doing because as that question was being asked in the chat as we first started this video, this is how we do a better job at controlling the lower self. We're cutting it off at the thought. So as soon as that thought comes in, I hope that brother is still in this video, still in the chat, so you can see. And we're not done, but like right away, we want to cut it off at the thought. We don't even want to act on it. So we're getting to the point where we're strengthening our connection to higher self by cutting these thoughts off as soon as they come through. We're calling it out, right? Not like out loud, looking crazy. Talking about Satan, what you doing? Devil, like looking crazy, sounding. No, you're doing this in your own mind, in your own head. We're not out here calling anybody else a devil, saying anybody else is the devil. No, we're dealing with ourselves. We're elevating as just with beasts, carnality, elevating beyond physical desires so that we can align with our divine purpose. So we're not pointing the fingers out there. This is what is so beautiful, wonderful about the Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought to us and why this is for everyone. But we, as Moorish American Muslims, want to demonstrate it first. We want to be living the life. So if you're Moorish American and you're out there, I don't need this, I don't need to give me that blood. Whatever you're doing, whatever your blood is, whatever your drink is, or whatever you do, whatever your vice is, and you acting like you don't need this, you're beyond this, but you don't have control over the lower self. But maybe you got a little understanding, so you calling yourself God, right? But you're suffering in your life because of the decisions that you make. So we're working, on an individual basis to rise above this. And also as a collective to be doing this, to be creating a better, more um more divine community or communities and then nation. All right. So that now with this understanding that the five names, knowing their real meanings, right? Satan, we know, or Lucifer, we know this is representing the false light, misplaced ego. So we understand this when we're having these thoughts that's coming through, this wanting or seeking recognition, for selfish reasons. when we're having these thoughts that are coming through for self glorification or for ego, we're able to check that. We're not even acting on that stuff anymore. We're totally switching up and changing the game now and actually beginning to resemble our higher self. This is powerful. And I'm not gonna go through all of these. I mean, I mentioned them in brief just now, but you can definitely get the book so that you can do this work on yourself, because this is what it's ultimately about. Because like when we're going through these keys in the book, we're also doing the spiritual work with the meditation and the prayer in a real practical way that's powerful, a way to implement this into our own lives, so that this isn't just talk. This isn't just like just intellectual masturbation or something. This isn't just us just reading and knowing stuff. This is actual spiritual discipline. It's being put into place, like you're speaking on here with prayer and meditation, making this a daily part of our lives, and we're actually strengthening our connection to higher self for real, not in talk. You don't have to sit up and say, I self law and master and all this stuff and talk about be God, peace God and all this stuff. Talking, no, you can be it for real. And then you don't even have to say a word, right? And this is why, I wanted to do this and speak on this a little bit. Also to give more insight into what this book is really about. Like this isn't playing games. Everything in here, even the imagery that's in here, to show us like the real truth of like what this higher and lower self is, how it applies to you, seeing yourself in these positions. Like these aren't like corners. These aren't like these are this is our people. This is us. These are Asiatic people. So-called Black Americans, right? But in reality, we're Moorish Americans, with the higher and lower self being demonstrated right there for you. Like this imagery was actually in our lives growing up as children. We saw that higher and lower self being, played out with the angel and the demon on the shoulders, but it wasn't explained on how to master ourselves through it. They're just showing it when the character has to make a decision or something, and they got the angel and the demon. And a lot of times they show that that demon is overpowering the angel because it's cooler to be evil. It's cooler to be a demon, right? And that's how it is in life. And so now we're this helps to open up the um give brighter insight into the beauty of what Prophet Noble Drew Ali really gave us, even just with those one-on-one keys. Also got another book coming for you that does the same thing with the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, going through every chapter, all 48 chapters, even just like everything from the beginning, the cover, inside cover of the Quran to the back. All right. So doing the same thing with that, just to help realize our potential. It also was illustrated by my daughter. Um, but like just really, doing this work to help us to show like this is beautiful what our prophet really did for us. And just it's those simple keys, that 101 keys, man, it's profound. Far more profound probably than the average person realizes. They looking at it like, oh, that ain't nothing. Nah, you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you never opened the third eye. Maybe you never really tapped in and seen what this really is when it's talking about know thyself and thy father got a lot, but this is real. And so this is to help everybody actually realize that, to be the higher self. And so even the keys like, oh, okay, hit on something that might seem simple that people will overlook. I was trying to find the keys on Mecca, but yeah, okay. Well, 68 and 69. We'll just go on and cover those real quick. So, yeah, the keys or the questions 68 and 69. What people represents the higher self? The angels who protect the holy city of Mecca. 69. What people represent the lower self? Those who were cast out of the holy city and those who accept their teachings. Just going over that in brief. What does this mean? How does this like? What? So the holy city of Mecca has literal meaning. You could be speaking about that place over there, and Saudi Arabia, Mecca and Medina, right? But then also symbolically or spiritually, the holy city symbolizes this pure and sacred space that's within each and every one of us. We all have a divine consciousness where our higher self resides. Because um, if Muslims are saying that Mecca is like the spiritual center or like one of the holiest sites in the world or the holiest site in the world, well, guess what? The holy city is within us from a metaphysical perspective. That is where divine consciousness is. It is holy. It is the most holy of holy places, on earth. Like from a physical perspective, it's holy. It's not even really a physical place. It's spiritual and it's inside all of us. And that's where God or Allah resides within man. That's where God's nature is within man, our divine nature. So of course it's the most holy of holies, and it's a place where the non-believers can never come. Like Mecca, they gotta keep the non-believers away. Okay, so protecting the holy city of Mecca, it would mean safeguarding that. That's safeguarding the sanctity of our inner temple, the spiritual temple. Like you hear some people, "Oh, I don't need to go to the temple. The temple to me." Well, yeah, yeah, true. But are you defiling it? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? And when I say supposed to be, not saying like there's some rules to this, just keeping it real. If the divine is within you, what are you even doing to connect? Do you make the pilgrimage to Mecca? You should be making it daily. It ain't about making that pilgrimage over to Saudi Arabia, Mecca, Medina once in your life, or going to Chicago once in your life. It's about going within every day. So every day we should be praying and meditating. Meditating why? To quiet the mind and get rid of the influences and distractions, even if just 10 minutes. And so that's what's being shown in the book and going into steps and things to help to actually do it from a practical level on a daily basis on a way that can really work for you in this world that you're in where you got distractions and all these things going on. You really do it because that's where the holy city is. So we want to serve that. I mean, we want to protect and preserve that, and we want to strengthen our connection to that. So this is for real, teachers to pull out something greater within you, right? So that's and this is once again this is the Unlocking the Keys book. I advise everybody to get this. Links in the description. Make sure you get that book. But just going back to this is you know, speaking about that holy city of Mecca, and that's within. And so we want to be making that pilgrimage every day. We want to be just quiet in the mind every day. And when it's saying the angels is protecting it, now this is within ourself, right? Because the higher self is one with Allah. The higher self is spirit. The higher self is not a physical thing, it's spirit. And so it's always connected to Allah. And in all honesty, we all have this connection to divinity within us. We all have the answers that we need within us. We all have the keys, the answers, all that. It's always there. So watching the video, reading the book, doing anything is because we're looking for it outside of ourselves because we're not tapping within. And so this is ultimately it's not to make you a slave to another book, a slave to another religion. It's ultimately to rise above that, to not even need these things anymore, to be connected to the higher self for real, for real. All right. So just once again with applications to daily life, practical ways of really doing this, making it real, making it work for you. This is what I'm saying, man. This is powerful. The holy city of Mecca is, a sacred location in Islam, but the holy city really represents the pure and sacred space within us. And this city must be protected from corruption by the lower self. The lower self seeks to dominate through ego, materialism, and ignorance. And for most of us, the lower self is what's making all the decisions. Even if we're saying we're Moors and we know stuff, most people are making decisions, thinking, acting from the lower self, right? Ignorance, hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, death, and everything that brings harm. All right. So the holy city that's within us, this must be safeguarded, right? And we safeguard it with the higher virtues, all the attributes of the higher self, strengthening this within ourselves so that we're now making decisions from the higher self instead of the lower. Because those decisions from the lower self are what lead you to the bad situations that you're in that you don't like. Right. So this is what we're trying to bring out within ourselves. Like I said, I'm not going to go through everything. You can get this book yourself and you can take your time and use this to improve yourself. It's a work. I mean, it's not like some you just snap your fingers and everything's great where you want it to be. Right. It takes work and practice and discipline to actually pull out our higher self to strengthen our connection to our higher self to fully subdue the lower self to to be at a higher um point of living, like to be like the best version of ourselves. It takes work, and I advise everybody to be about that work, that great work. And that's really what this was all about, just speaking about that. Now once again, just as a disclaimer, not knocking any other cultures, other groups, other religions, Nation Islam, much respect to them and all, but like we, this is where we're at from a Moorish American Muslim perspective. So like, yeah, not out here talking about Yakub and the white man, the devil. We don't say none of that because just once again, you know, the devil to us, the only devil from which man must be redeemed is lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within his name itself. That is the truth. It wasn't just true once. Because if it's divine, it's always true. Why? Because truth does not change or pass away. Right? If something's real, if it's really true, it doesn't change or pass away. It doesn't depend upon what time it is or what, you know. No, it's true. Period. So, and that book, Unlocking the Keys, once again, which I'm gonna bring right back up on the screen. In Unlocking the Keys, in there we explain that the Quran questionnaire is actually about self knowledge. It's actually about moral development and awakening the divine mind, something that is within us all. And so the purpose of the Moorish teachings is not simply nationality, which makes some people may be stuck at, or that's all you hear. You think, oh, it's about you saying you're not black. No, 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 no. That's actually like basic entry level. It's about unfolding the creator within you, right? Awakening the divine mind. And this is actually a message that is universal. So it's self transformation, it's mental liberation and spiritual awakening. Nationality, sure, it restores our identity, but self knowledge restores our consciousness, right? Like it says on the cover of the Holy Quran is to redeem man, from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life, the highest plane of life. With this Father got a lot too, to help us realize our highest potential, right? Because we don't even have any clue of what our highest potential is, because we're looking at things from the lower self, from the carnal view. We don't even realize we don't have limits. We have limitations and things to work through because we're working from the carnal mind. I'll give you an example, right? Well, with the cover from the Holy Quran, right? You have fallen humanity is like depicted as an unconscious woman, and the Prophet Noble Drew Ali lifting her out of the cares of the world, right? The waters can be chaotic. The waves, you can get carried away, you can get drowned like really easily, especially in the ocean. Like if you get caught up in a wave or something is drifting, it can carry you out further into the sea. You just keep going, right? So, but the prophet is almost walking on water, right? Lifting her onto the solid rock of salvation, lifting fallen humanity, unconscious humanity onto the solid rock of salvation. So when we are working, moving from our higher self, we don't have the limitations of fallen humanity, which would be drowning in the cares of the world. Now we too can walk on the water and stand on the solid rock of salvation. We don't have the same limitations because we're not stuck to what you can do from the carnal mind. In the carnal mind, the only way you could be on top of that water is if you build a boat, right? Something like that. You're limited. You're limited to the laws of physics and all of these things, right? But when we're working from the divine, remember the higher self is one with the creator, it's spirit. It's not limited to the physical. So now we're moving from a higher level. We remove those limitations as well. And we become our true self because our true self doesn't have any limits. Okay? And so this is why the Prophet Noble Drew Ali focused on self, right? And one of the things, like if you going back to the symbology with the Nation of Islam, just like let it be known that's not us, that's not where we stand. If you blame another race for everything, instead of looking in the mirror and correcting yourself, then you never correct yourself. You never correct your own faults. You never grow spiritually, right? You can't realize your potential. You're blaming others. You can't grow spiritually. And you remain trapped in reaction. You're reacting to others. They did this, now we're going to do that. Let's go and march because they did this. So let's complain or cry. They did this. They killed another one, right? But the Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught us something much more powerful, which is self mastery. Self mastery. The key there is that a man who conquers himself cannot be conquered by the world. When you're in a victim mentality, you have a people who are oppressed, who are, and I'm not making light of any of this. These things are true. Who are oppressed and marginalized, and have systematic um, systems that are, set up within the government institutions that marginalize these people and that treat them unfairly, legally and everything, right? So more of them are getting in prison and all that. And you have things where, like, okay, these people are getting killed even by police officers, and there's no justice for them. Okay, and that's something that has to be taken care of. But these people, also those same people, will overlook their own people killing each other, the criminal, situations in their own neighborhoods that need to be cleaned up, that are far more wicked, that are destroying far more of their people than the police, killing one person, and every now and then in different cities. So most of the murders and attacks and 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 robberies and killings and all these horrible things are being carried out by their own people against them, right? But people who have that mentality, they'll never correct themselves. They stay trapped. They stay stuck, and that's why nobody's really even trying to do anything about that mentality. So the prophet came to focus on ourselves. We're not looking outside and blaming all these other things on the conditions that we're going through. So I want to ask everybody before we close out to reflect on what was said today, what was discussed. I just want to leave you with some questions, you know, like for the audience, just for you in general. Generally speaking, when anger rises, which self is speaking? Is your anger divine? Because listening to like stuff in the conscious community or whatever, you might think that. You say, I'm Sekhmet or something. Like, what? Is your anger actually divine? Is that coming from the higher or the lower self? All right. When we gossip, when we're attacking one another, which self is that that's operating? When we show patience and wisdom, Which self is guiding us? Just those three questions. If you can't think about those, because every day is a battle between the higher and lower self, and that's why we want to keep the vibrations high on this Moorish American platform, Moors in America. We're not here to attack, to go at anyone, to spread rumors and gossip, none of that stuff. Like, we want to move from the higher self and to inspire all of us to do our best, to be our higher self. Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to uplift fallen humanity. Not just one race, not just one ethnic group, or if you want to say one race, the human race. But not just one ethnic group over another, not just for Moorish Americans. He came to uplift fallen humanity. Now, he's not leaving us out of that. When I say us, speaking about those misnomered as black African American, which I would say Moorish Americans. He didn't leave us out. Of course, he's coming to assist us. Okay? But his mission actually was to uplift fallen humanity. And guess what? It starts with us. We must pick ourselves up so that we can take on this great task, this incredible task. And going back to the Holy Quran as we close this out, this is a great task to do. It's universal, actually, amazing, which would seem unbelievable because he came to the people who are at the lowest. But when we go to chapter 45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nations, it says the fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate and to know their higher and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc. That is everybody else, all the others. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations, the Moorish, who were ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. So the key of civilization was in our hands, and it still is. And since we have fallen, that's why society has fallen. It's not blaming anyone else like they're the lowest. No, we fell, and that's why things are like they are. When you go to chapter 48 in that same Holy Quran, it says, we are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourselves with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. That's our true reason for being here. Key 15 or question 15 from the 101 questionnaire, Quran questionnaires. For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? For the uplifting of fallen humanity. Remember that. Okay? Just wanted to reiterate that for the people. All right? We are here to uplift fallen humanity. We do it through learning of our higher and lower self and then working to be our higher self, to overcome, to subdue the lower self, to realize our great and divine potential. We have been redeemed. We can let go of all of those things that were holding us back. And so, on that note, I want to go ahead and let go of this broadcast and let you, get out there and do what you got to do. But before you go, I want to ask you to hit that like and share button. Of course, you can get the Holy Quran, Divine, also the Moorish literature. You can get all that stuff from MoorishAmericans.com. Get it from our temple. We will ship that out to you. For everyone interested in that great book that I was going through in this broadcast, that is Unlocking the Keys. The link to that book is in this video description. The video, short video for the book will play too. You can just click on the little card that comes up to go to the site to order your copy, and I will autograph your copy and mail it out to you. 420 beautiful, amazing pages. Everything in this book carefully chosen and created to help to awaken and unfold the higher self within you. Everything, even the imagery in here, everything carefully designed for that. So 420 masterful pages created with that purpose to go along with as an accompaniment to the Prophet's Keys, the 101 keys, which are all described in this book too. So, even if you don't have the one-on-one keys, they're all in here. So yeah, definitely get that, utilize that for yourself. And this is why what we're doing is so powerful, because it teaches unity, divine identity, and for all of humanity, and it's teaching self mastery. Because at the end of the day, when man conquers the lower self, he reveals the divine within. And so, as we close out, remember this: the only devil from which men must be redeemed is self. That's the only one. There's nothing else holding you back, right? And that's the final message. It's not a race of people. It's not a nation of people. It's not a certain people or ethnic background, a group. It's the lower nature within ourselves. And we don't want to ever look at other people and blame other people and then not work on ourselves. So the mission of the Moorish Science Temple of America is to awaken that higher self so humanity can rise into its divine potential. And as we close out, just think about what are some ways you can work to conquer the lower self in your own life. And if you get a copy of the Unlocking the Keys, it will assist you in that task. All right. And just want to thank you all for being here. And on that note, Moors, we are out. Peace and love. Hit like and share this video. Peace.
Unlock the Keys, a powerful guide to Moorish identity, divine law, and self-mastery. Praised by sheiks and scholars alike, and Moors across the nation are calling it a must-read. Grab your signed copy now at MoorishinAmerica.com for just $23. Or get the paperback on Amazon, also $23. Prefer digital? The Kindle version is only $3.99.
Don't let your history start at slavery. Join with Moorish Science Temple, a lawfully chartered Islamic organization, and proclaim your nationality while helping us uplift fallen humanity. Founded by American prophet Noble Drew Ali and consistently promoted plans for the betterment of humankind. We are located in Columbus, Ohio. Visit our website www.moorishamericans.com and follow us on social media. We hold live meetings on Zoom every Friday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give us a call at 614-407-4394 if you would like to join or send donations to help us uplift fallen humanity.
Highest quality handmade fezzes. Crafted fez with the finest wool, complete with tassel and leather sweatband. Wear the national headdress of Moorish Americans with pride and respect. 3XL size fez is a comfortable fit for brothers with dreadlocks. Shipping worldwide. Go to moorishfez.com to order.